Yeah, I'll always be a metalhead. Nothing can take that away from me.
Right.
I mean, not jail, not people, not religion, not anything. I'll always be a metalhead, 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 metalhead. Metalhead leaves you all alive.
You're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Welcome back to another Metal Debate album review. Today we're reviewing the new album, Dreams of Lands Unseen by Ignea. Ignea are a symphonic metal band from Ukraine with a discography including 2 full-length albums prior to their newest release this year. I'd not heard Ignea prior to reviewing this album and was impressed not only with this effort but also from my limited listenings from their back catalog. Dreams of Lands Unseen was released in April 2023 via Napalm Records, a company with a mix of really good as well as horrendous artists on their roster, always with a super annoying intro to their music videos. In brief, Ignea's Dreams of Unseen Lands is a well-conceived amalgam of music that checks most of the boxes for what I'm looking for in a metal album. The songs are generally strong, fitting together well in the context of the entirety, although most would be equally impactful if played in isolation. The material fits in the general mold of symphonic metal, but Ignea provide enough musical twists and tangents to keep things fresh and not be too derivative. The band are a 5-piece with singer, responsible for both clean and harsh vocals, plus a single guitarist, bassist, drummer, and keyboard player. As one would expect with a symphonic metal band, there are other sounds and effects incorporated, but not so much that I expect those folks couldn't manage these songs live if they just plugged in their instruments and performed straight ahead. With that big picture context out of the way, let's dive in and explore the album on a track-by-track basis before returning to make a few final general observations. Following the short intro instrumental Téoura, which gives a hint of the Eastern musical vibe we'll keep coming back to throughout this album, Dreams of Lands Unseen opens with the track Dunes. This is one damn fine song. The vocal and instrumental melodies are impressive, pulling the listener along and demanding attention. A good mix of power and softness in both the vocals and instrumental execution. The music falls away except for percussion prior to the final bridge, a technique Ignea will use elsewhere to great effect, giving space for the sonic assault to hit with full effect when it is unleashed. We also get some snippets of Ukrainian language included among the otherwise English lyrics to nice effect. The next song, Camera Obscura, has a synthy intro, with heavy riffs kicking in thereafter, relegating the synths to a backing role. Singer Hella Benedova's voice is soft and flows well prior to the issuance of her growls. We already begin to see here hints of a moderately progressive approach with Ignea's music. The majority of tracks on the album begin with a traditional verse-chorus sequence, but then branch out as the songs continue with a variety of conclusions, including some abrupt endings. If you're looking for Guitar Hero-style shredding lead breaks setting the stage for a final epic chorus, they are absent. Track 4, Daleki Abri, reverses the approach of Camera Obscura with an initial motor of crunching guitars segueing into keys. We get harsh vocals on the verses and cleans on the choruses, and there's a satisfying, if brief, keyboard lead break. Hella sings this one entirely in Ukrainian, something I treasure as a fan of many metal bands from Eastern Europe whose lyrics are entirely in their native tongues. English is banal. To me, it's much more genuine when I hear lyrics sung in the band's vernacular. Even if I don't know the precise meaning of the word sung, I don't require a dictionary to translate the deeper meaning when communicated by a talented singer. To Know What I Owe is another good one. This track features some tasteful string instrumental sounds, whether real or synth, I'm not sure, but it brings to mind that Ignea are not the brand of symphonic metal that relies on overwhelming backing orchestrations, as with acts such as Xandria or Visions of Atlantis. Their approach is more measured. On this song, the bass comes across as a bit higher in the mix, and I really like that rhythm along with the pacing of the double bass drums during the chorus. The main guitar riff is simple, but does the work to set the stage for the vocals and percussion. Another track that doesn't overstay its welcome. Working through the album's second half, and its only 9 complete songs in length sans the intro, track number 6, Incurable Disease, has a lot of the old Delane feel to it, minus the Martin Westerholt douchiness. It's very cinematic sounding, conjuring spectral images of light and darkness, narrated by beautiful vocals and a lot of ambient backing sound. Next comes Nomad's Luck, which is one of my top songs on the record. Immaculately crafted, this track works from beginning to end. I really applaud Ignea for what seems to be the amount of thought they put into these songs. Some bands toss lyrics and riffs together without much consideration. It's clear Ignea spent some time on this one. Hella's voice is excellent here, highlighted by some slow but powerful singing toward the song's incredible crescendo ending. Just very, very well done. The Golden Shell has an East Asian feel to it, especially in the intro. This one casts aside the aggression for passion, eschewing harsh vocals entirely in favor of a soft voice and slow, sustained tempo throughout. This is a good song, just not one of my faves, mostly because I don't think it highlights what this band does best. The penultimate track, Opiumist, is also the longest on the album, clocking in at over 7 minutes. It's another of my favorites, just the overall pacing and structure are great. Opiumist incorporates even more oriental flavoring in its execution, as well as an overall trippy feel. I really like this one. It gets super trippy about 4.5 minutes in, then following that interlude, goes into about 2 minutes of straightforward death metal. Kind of a weird song to be honest, but for me, it definitely works. The album concludes with Zenith. I hate to end the run-through on a negative take, but this track didn't work for me. It was my least preferred on the album. The vocals are fine, good tempo, and really like that we get another song sung in the Ukrainian tongue. But the bouncy main guitar riff I just find so cringeworthy as to be unlistenable. Give it a chance yourself, though, and perhaps your aesthetic sensibilities will find it more acceptable than I do. Just not my thing. A few more critiques while I'm in that mode. I had a bit of a love-hate relationship with the guitar tone on this release. Sometimes I really liked it, but occasionally it was a bit too fat for my liking. Especially on To No One I Owe and Zenith, I wish it had been a tad drier and given more crunch to the sound. If I'm coming across on this release as harsh in my evaluation, rest assured, what I have for this album is mostly praise, and it truly continues to grow on me with each listen. Dreams of Lands Unseen is a solid metal album that I would recommend highly to anyone. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10, and that's something given I really didn't like one of the tracks. But I truly appreciate what the band has done. I'm a big fan of symphonic metal, but admittedly, much of what I hear in that genre today is often lacking. Ignea's album is a formidable collection of quality songs in the symphonic progressive vein, including plenty of melodic death metal. Each track is pretty tight. There's a bit of catchiness throughout, and you'll find the songs will be familiar after just a few listens, but Ignea never lower themselves to employ anything close to a pop hook. Dmitry Vinichenko presents as a capable musician who employs some effective guitar melodies and chunky slabs of sound. I especially like the riffs on Nomad's Luck and the conspicuous dissonant chord sequence in To No One I Owe. But often the guitars are at their most effective when they chug along beneath the keys or vocals, supporting those elements' ability to be the focus. I have great appreciation of metal vocalists who can transition seamlessly between clean and harsh vocals, and honestly, this is one of the biggest appeals to me of this album and Ignea as a band. It's an incredibly difficult skill set to master, and there are some really good singers out there who nail the growls but struggle to hit the clean notes, or vice versa. Hella seems to have mastered the techniques. Her cleans are soft and inviting, and her grunted lyrics deep and thick. No black metal shrieks to be heard, and not a ton of variability in the harsh range either, but overall, the contrast between her normal singing voice and death growls I found really appealing. In conclusion, fans of symphonic metal, melodic death metal, and melodic metal generally should check out Ignea. You won't be disappointed. You can purchase music and merchandise from the band, including this new album, Dreams of Lands Unseen, from the band's website, Napalm Records, and Bandcamp.com. Give these guys a listen and support their efforts.